up, fitness YouTube? My name is Trevor Rolls, and this is the first video on the Fitness Philosophy channel. So let me give you a little bit of backstory on myself. I'm a philosophy major in graduate school, and I am also a second degree black belt in Wichiru Karate. I am an apprentice instructor, and I have gone back and forth on my fitness journey. When I started karate, I was 300 pounds, could barely even make it through the first easiest class, couldn't even bend over and tie my shoes. Life wasn't too easy then. Well, right now, currently, I am up to 250, and that's not a good spot for me. I never want to be 300 pounds again. That's never a place I want to go to again. I won't allow that to happen in my life. My goal here isn't to sell y'all anything or convince y'all of anything beyond the fact that I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. And if you want to follow along, then that's on you. And I'm gonna put as much of it as I can up here on the channel. Today is my kind of start day. Now, to put it into context, I work out at least 2 nights a week at the karate dojo. That's about an hour and a half of training, and it fluctuates. Now, training 2 nights a week is not enough. It's just not enough, especially for a guy my age, 39, gonna be 40 here this week. All right, 2 nights a week is not enough to counterbalance. So anyways, last night we had a hard workout at karate, and we did some sparring, and I was getting pretty winded pretty easily in my karate, in my sparring, and that makes me unhappy. So I say, time to rein it in. So let me tell you what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm just walking, taking it easy a little bit. Now I can jog 2 miles in my current state without stopping, and that's just a light pace, maybe 14-minute mile. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about jogging. That's a kind of a controversy, not really controversy, but it's just kind of a thing that fitness people like to talk about. Is it even worth it? Is it even worth it to jog? And I get the reasoning why, with the amount of impact you're putting in on your joints, on your knees and everything like that. A lot of times they'll tell you, you get more out of it if you just walk, or if you just sprint as fast as you can, as much as you can. The reason why I like jogging is because it's the time under elevated heart rate. I've typically found that in my workouts, if I'm not doing it, whatever it is, if I'm not putting in about an hour's worth of effort, then I'm not seeing the results that I want to see. And right there, that might turn some people off, and it might say, hey, I don't want to work out for an hour a day. And I would challenge you, then hey, you don't want to lose weight, bottom line. Now, I've done programs, and I've followed people and different YouTubers and different athletic things. Some of my favorites are Thomas DeLauer and the Six Pack Abs. I like watching that guy. Athlete X, those guys. I mean, they put out great content. They don't always agree on things, and they put out great content. I love that stuff, and I totally get it all. And I think that when you're looking to find your way, this is where the philosophy comes in. You got to decide what you think about this stuff, and you got to figure out what you can do. Now, a lot of these guys say, hey, you don't got to work out for an hour. You don't got to work out for an hour, right? I get that, and you don't, but they'll say, if you just increase the intensity and decrease the amount of time you're working out. That's true, but for what it's worth, how much time are you shaving off, and how much effort are you putting in? How doable is it for you? Yeah, I might be able to shave off 20 minutes of my workout time, and now I'm down to 35, 40 minutes, but I'm going balls to the wall as fast and as hard as I can. Man, I ain't even about that. I don't even want to do it, right? And that's where the problem comes in. If you don't want to work out, then you ain't gonna work out. Sooner or later, you ain't gonna work out. So you need to find a balance. And for me, that balance is taking an hour away from Netflix, PlayStation, whatever else it is, and I just take that hour and I work out. Moving forward, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm going to drop at least 20 pounds easily. And the way I'm gonna do that, and I know it's gonna happen because I've done it before, is I'm gonna change my diet. I'm gonna pick up my exercise. Diet, exercise. You call it whatever you wanna call it, but that's what it's all about, especially because of COVID and lockdowns and all that. Like, I just totally fell off in a lot of ways, and I started allowing myself to do some things that I had previously banned myself from doing, such as drinking soda, eating potato chips, Chinese food, pizza, all that stuff. And I'm not saying that to get fit you can't have any of that stuff, but the reality is most of us who got fat by living like that don't just occasionally live like that. If we drink sodas, we're soda drinkers. If we eat pizza and Chinese food, we probably do it all the time. And that's the case with me. So anyways, first things first. Now I'm not talking about cutting all carbs, because you gotta have carbs, man. You gotta have things like potatoes, your rice, green vegetables, especially your green vegetables. But the more processed carbs I can get out, the better off I'm gonna be. And even the occasional mac and cheese, you know, if it's proportioned right, which is the second thing, portion control. Like most people don't realize, if you read the boxes of the stuff that you're piling into your face, then you're gonna realize that there are recommendations to how much of it you should be eating. Yes, they're called portion sizes. And when you look at the portion sizes, then they're gonna tell you how many ounces is a serving. So if you properly portion your meals out, then you're gonna realize that if I eat a regular meal exactly the way it's supposed to be, with my correct portion of meat, correct portion of starch, a correct portion of vegetables, then, you know, I'm only gonna be eating about 400 calories in that meal, in that whole meal, right? And it's not a small meal. Now, if you go out and get yourself a soda and a candy bar, a Coke or a Pepsi or whatever you like, and a candy bar, then you're gonna be eating more calories than in that whole meal, put together. Oh, here we go with the calories, right? Counting calories and stuff like that. I mean, it's a hassle. And the first thing that comes to somebody's mind is, oh great, here we go with the hassle. But there's tools that you can use that are going to relieve some of the hassle. And the bottom line is, I'm gonna go back to this. If you're telling yourself, I don't wanna do that because it's a hassle, then you're a chump and you don't wanna lose weight. Bottom line, it is a hassle, no matter what you do. So you gotta kind of pick and choose your hassle. One thing that makes me a little irritated is you go online and there's all these guys and everybody's kind of got a different mindset of it, a different approach, but they're all trying to sell you the same thing, some magic pill. You know, I've seen these guys that, you know, you can eat this pizza and drink this soda and you can look like me, and he's some ripped old you know, ripped out muscle dude. The thing is, you gotta read the fine print. Yeah, you can be ripped out muscle dude and still at times eat your pizza and drink your soda, but the reality of the matter is, if you're a pizza eating, soda drinking person, you do that all the time. And you can't do that all the time and get to where you want to be. Now, there's a whole mindset that goes into this, and you know, there are people with the kind of physique that if they change their diet up and ate a bunch of junk, and they'd maintain for a while. And that's because your body, you know, maintains a level of equilibrium. And whatever the normal is for your body, whatever the normal is, when you create tension in that, and you know, I'm thinking of a bowstring, right? You pull tension, and if it's tension to, you know, I'm normally this really fit person, and I'm gonna pull some tension over here, and I'm gonna take, you know, for 2 weeks I just ate like crap. Your body is gonna pull it back to normal. It's gonna pull itself back to the normal state, the equilibrium. Now, eventually, the crap will become the normal state. So now let's say you're over here and you're a fat guy, like me, a little bit of a fat guy going on, right? Let's say you're a fat guy and you're like, man, for 2 weeks, I'm just gonna work out, I'm gonna eat better, man, and that's gonna be that. You know, I'm just making a change. But then after 2 weeks, you just fall back into your old habit. Your body's gonna return to normal. It's gonna alleviate the tension and go back to normal. I'm just pulling these numbers off the top of my head, but the concept here is reality. Your body runs in a state of equilibrium and it pulls itself back to what the normal thing is. So for the fit guy, he could do some bad stuff. He could probably get away with a bunch of bad stuff and maintain, right? His body will pull itself back as long as he doesn't turn the bad stuff into the new normal. For the fat guy, he could do some good stuff. He could probably do a bunch of good stuff in a short period of time. But until that becomes the normal, and I'm talking like, you know, again, I don't have any direct numbers, but I'm talking about like a couple months, you know, like you gotta be like 90 days to turn something into normal. At least his body's just gonna pull it back to being fat. And that's where a lot of frustration comes from people. So anyways, I started at 300 pounds. I got down, my first big milestone was 260. I went from 300 to 260. I lost 40 pounds. Boom, I got some pictures. See if I can get some up here. And then I did some plateauing, and I had to I had to figure out what was going on. Mostly I lost those original poundages from calorie cutting. Right, I cut a bunch of calories, and how I did that was setting myself at a 1,500 calorie limit for the day, and then also working out vigorously. So that got me as far as it could get me, right? And then I plateaued out. I didn't know why I plateaued out. So then I had to figure something out. And what I figured out was, through research, is that if you set yourself at a caloric deficit, your body actually needs so many calories to function properly, then eventually your weight loss will stop because your body's trying to survive. And in a way, you're like starving yourself to death. It's gonna turn off other things so that it can still maintain its body mass, right, for as long as possible. I'm not saying eventually you wouldn't get past this, but that's why I plateaued, right? And I had to learn about this. I had to figure it out. Once I did, I started intermittent fasting, which basically meant that I still ate all the calories I was allowing myself to eat, 1,500 at that time, but I didn't start eating until noontime at least every day. So I'd start eating at noontime, and I'd work out in a fasted state. I try to anyways. That kind of bumped me down, and then I ended up getting down to 240. I got down to 240. I actually got down to 230, and then I got a different job. I got a job working nighttime, overnight shifts, and I didn't know this at the time, but because I was up all night and trying to sleep whenever I could at the day, my whole sleep schedule was off, and that threw my hormonal balance off, and that made it harder for my body to do the things it was supposed to do to keep the weight loss happening. So again, whole other thing, but I ended up coming back up to 240. Right, coming back up to 240, and I kind of like had that be my comfort zone. So I said to myself, whatever the case happened, I want to at least maintain this 240. And I did that for a couple years, and now, you get to a point where my fitness game has gone way down. My nutrition game has gone way down, and I'm still able to hold this 240 weight. So from 300 to 240, so I got off 60 pounds, and I managed to keep off 60 pounds. And I just would check my weight every week or two, and if it started creeping up into 245, then I would just do some of the things that I knew were gonna help me bring it back down to 240. So all this happened, and it came time for me to test for my first black belt. Now, I have pictures when I started karate at 300 pounds. So when I tested for my first black belt, I was about 240 when I tested for my first black belt. But the pictures didn't lie, man. I could tell in the pictures, like, man, I'm fatter than I want to be, and I felt sluggish, and I had a hard time keeping up during the sparring section, the final section where I had to fight, and I couldn't hold my breath, keep everything going on, right? So after that black belt test, it was a year before you test for your second degree. I said, when I test for my second degree, I want to be changing into my gi before the test and have whoever has to spar with me that night wish that they were sick that day, right? That's what I wanted. That was my goal. So I wanted to do it all in that year. I wanted to get down to like 200 just from losing weight, and then build my muscle back up to 215, 220. That was my goal. And it was novel, and I had a big burst at the first, and I got back down to, like 229. And again, life happened, school, things like that, whatever excuses that I'm making. And I got up again. So I was upwards of 240. That's my kind of like my problem area, right? 240 to 245. So now we're talking, this is 10 months after my first test. I joined this other program, this Fighter's Body program, which I'm wearing shirts for now, the Muay Thai training program. And between that and other stuff that I like to do and that I know is effective, getting my nutrition under control, now I got down to like 218. We got down to like 218. And then a couple weeks before the black belt test, like my training slacked up a little bit. And so anyways, when I tested for my second degree, I was like 222, 223, something like that. We'll say 225 just to be safe. I was like 225 for my second degree test. And it was good. I looked good. I felt good. I performed well. But then I still maintained my fitness steam for a little while. And then let's just skip a bunch of stuff. And now here I am. So I weighed myself yesterday, was 250. 250. But anyways, this is just kind of an introduction video. And again, you know, if you want to follow along with me, man, I would love that. And, you know, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, get notifications, stay with me here on this because I'm going to show you guys. So getting back to what I was saying, you're going to see real quick that my first 10 pounds basically just melts off. And that's all going to happen because I'm just going to cut out my terrible carbs. And again, it's not all carbs, you know. Last night I had spaghetti dinner, which is bordering on, but anyways, the point is I'm gonna cut out all these processed carbs. I've been letting myself drink some soda. I've been munching on some chips here and there, eating some crackers, right? All that stuff, no bueno, you know. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at night with a glass of milk, my night snacks. And you might say, oh, well, peanut butter, isn't that protein? It's like, yeah, but you don't realize how much sugar's in all that crap. So anyways, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds right off the bat. And you guys are gonna see that happen. I'm documenting my weight and I'm gonna document everything I do here. The next 10 pounds is gonna be a little harder, but it's still gonna be pretty easy because I'm gonna pick up my workout routine, and it's gonna be so the types of workouts we're gonna be doing here is a cross between jogging, you gotta run. And you might be saying, hey, I'm fat and I can't run. Anyways, we'll get into that later. But jogging and kickboxing. And I'm not talking about that mamby-pamby friggin' cardio kickboxing stuff that some girl who's probably never fought a day in her life or some whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real kickboxing. The type of stuff that we do when we're in there training to fight each other, right? We'll be doing some of that. And mainly, you know, maybe some calisthenics, but I'm not trying to pack on anything right now. So that's the type of stuff we're gonna be doing, and you're gonna see 10 pounds right away, boom. 20 pounds, it's gonna come. Pretty easy, not as easy, but pretty easy. And then once that happens, now that's when the real work gets into play. And on this channel, I'm just gonna do the goal. I'm gonna do the goal. So I'm 250, I'm telling you right now what the goal is, I've already said it. I'm gonna get downwards of 200, and then I'm gonna pack on. And I might not have to pack on as much because I might get bored and pack on. Once I start losing some weight, once I get rid of the belly, that's when I don't mind what the, you know, what the scale's doing. So follow along with me, right? See what you think. Anyways, that's it. That's the first video. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, stay with me through this. Let's get it done. Yeah.